Good morning. It is Tuesday, March the 17th. I'm Omi Bell. My co-host Cameron Cavill will be here in a second. Thank y'all so much for joining. This is the 30-day show, and we are on day 17. We on the other side of the half. So we rocking and rolling. One thing I was thinking this morning is like just how consistent I am as a person. I think I haven't given myself enough credit for that. Like I always talk about how like, oh man, like I'm so unorganized. Like if you look at my room, it's crazy. If you saw my Insta story post from yesterday, I'm dancing in the mirror. By the way, I'm like however many pounds down. I'm 9 pounds away from my goal, but I'm from 270, I'm 209. So hey, whoop whoop, there it is. But that was the point of dancing in the mirror. But I also realized after I finished the recording that I had like a ton of clothes on top of my ottoman at the end of my bed. And I was like, yeah, never mind that. Okay, just look over here. I think there's that. I think also, by the way, I set a record for myself yesterday because I don't think people understand the level of washing clothes that happens on a regular basis from a mom. You know what I'm saying? Like if you are a mom, and I'm not saying that men don't wash clothes. I don't know your everybody's house setup. But I'm saying I know for sure if you are mothering anything and anybody, that one of the things you're doing on such a regular basis that it is almost gross and ridiculous is washing clothes. And so yesterday I set a goal to wash all the clothes in one day. Okay. I did accomplish that. So I'm proud of myself, except for my big comforter on my bed. I didn't wash that one yet. But I'm gonna wash that today. I feel so good that I accomplished that goal because it's hard. I also saw, and y'all know the other day Cameron and I was talking about dating. And I also saw, oh my God, I sent this post to my to my daughter's dad because we were engaged, and part of our breakup was like he wanted this very traditional woman and I'm not that. And so there's this post out about some research that shows that men add, I think it's 32% more chores to a woman when you get into a relationship. So I'm gonna find that post and share it before the end of today's show because I'm like I don't think men realize how much work you add. I think it's always this like interesting dynamic between like who's bringing what. And I said to myself the other day, if somebody asked me like what I'm bringing to the table, I think that's a dumb question. Like that's a silly question. You have to know who you are when you're in a relationship, and I think that's what's best. Like it's not a matter of like what a man is bringing to me per se, but it is like I know who I am when I have a partner, and I'm 10 times faster, better, more peaceful when I have a partner if I have the right partner. And I think that like you got to know that, you got to roll with that, and know what like makes sense for you. And I think honestly that's probably a little privileged in my take on that though. All right, so bring up Cameron. Good morning. Welcome. How you feeling this morning?
Great. I love. Is this Omi time now? Like, is this the
No, but if you get up and
Omi
walk away
minute?
and I gotta go live, then I gotta take you off, then I gotta open up, then I gotta come back. You know what I mean? We gotta manage by time.
So,
I come from
so to
radio.
to the audience, I was here, and I was like, all right, let me. My coffee was right there. When I say this, like half this cup just spilled
You
all
gotta
over the
have that.
floor.
It fell
Half
on
this
the
cup just spilled the
floor.
floor. Yeah, that's why. Like in real time, I'm like, and you don't think you can hear me, but I get it. The show must go
No,
on.
no, 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 no. I didn't hear you. You know,
I'm so
when it
and
you know from us being on radio, like if it's time, it's time. You gotta go. If it's 6 a.m., you gotta go. We might not end on time, but when it's time to open up, we gotta open up. But dang, I hope you didn't spill it on yourself, did you?
no, it's just all on the
Just
floor.
on the
This floor is
floor.
gonna be, and I'm not gonna get to it for another hour and a half till the show's over.
Well,
So
I tell you
let's
what,
stick
you
it
can
fine.
get to it. I'm gonna bring
No,
Paolo
I
up.
cleaned it up, but I'm saying like,
Oh,
mop
oh,
it
the
so it
real
don't
like put some soap on
put some soap on it. It'll
it.
happen.
Put some soap on it. All right.
Put some soap on
I
that thing.
realize, when our conversations get good, I would say from the training from the school of Pulitzer Prize winning journalist Karen Hunter. When if you get good show momentum, you don't stop it. So a lot of times when guests come and we're already in like a conversation, I don't always stop to like bring the guests on and not. But then I'm like, Paulo came so early. I'm like, we should go ahead and get him in. So We're coming to the stage. We're gonna hear. Oh dang! I don't know what happened to the camera. I hate our guest for today. Hello, how are you?
Good morning, Omi. I'm doing great. How are you?
Good morning. Good to see you. Good to see you. So tell us about. I want to make sure. Let me make sure I get all your things right. So do you have a? Hello. I want to make sure I put this on here right. Guadino. Tell us a little bit about what you're working on today.
Yeah, well, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here. When I saw your announcement that you were doing this, I thought, what an awesome idea. This is really, really great. And, love the energy, love what you're doing. I've been working in diversity, equity, and inclusion for about 11 years now, which these
Okay.
days, as we know, it's a bit of an odd field. It's a difficult place to be when you have like a whole presidential administration that's basically trying to kill your entire industry. Makes it for interesting every morning when I get up. And it's also interesting. I always like to start whenever I talk to people about addressing the elephant in the room, or as I jokingly say, the white elephant in the room, which is, I'm white, male, cisgender, older. I'm a boomer. I'm a tail end of the baby boomers. And it's like, what the hell am I doing working in DEI? Well, and I've been doing this for about 11 years now. And I came into it from a very analytical angle. I've done a lot of work trying to understand how an individual works within an organization or a society or a driver on a highway. So I'm really fascinated with the idea of how you connect what happens at the individual level with what happens at the overall level. And out of that, I started working DI about 11 years ago, and I got very excited about the opportunity of bringing some of my knowledge from nonprofit, academic, for-profit things. And I came up with this idea essentially for measuring inclusion. And I wrote a book about it in 2024. The book was received very well, got a couple of awards. And then recently, with everything that's been happening, with all this polarization, with all this hatred that is going on, that was really struck by one thing, which is the idea that people talk about DEI as if it somehow ruins meritocracy. And I thought, well, wait a second. It's like, what the hell is meritocracy, right? And it turns out that if you go and look carefully, it's like nobody, even the people that, so there's like two people, right? Or broadly speaking, there's people that think meritocracy is a great thing, right? It's the American dream. It's the cream rising to the top. It's the winners, the best people winning. And of course, there are people who see meritocracy in a very different light. Meritocracy a lot of times is seen more as kind of an excuse for certain groups of people to get ahead. But in reality, when you look at the definitions, I found that nobody's ever really defined it in a way that is really clear, that is very consistent, and most importantly, that's measurable. So basically what that does is it creates this division that unfortunately allows some people to get away with making negative comments about DEI that, in my opinion, are completely misplaced. But also I feel that a lot of people have negative feelings about meritocracy that, well, if meritocracy worked properly, then things might actually be not bad. And the question is, what does that mean? And so I really spent the last year or so really thinking a lot about how do you define meritocracy? How do you measure it? And with my dear friend and collaborator, Cynthia Overton, who someday really you should talk to as well if you don't know her already. She used to be at the Caper Center. She ran an organization.
We had to. If she was at Caper, we probably ran into each other at some point.
Yeah, no, she's awesome. And so she and I, in fact, she was the one that about a little over a year ago started to say, you really need to write this book. You really need to write this book. And I was like, okay,
what's the name of the book?
What's the? It's called Meritocracy. It's called Meritocracy, which is interesting because like there have been a bunch of books written about meritocracy, but they talk about the meritocracy paradox and the meritocracy this and the meritocracy that. And so the book title is Meritocracy, and the subtitle is How to Manage Talent for Higher Profits and Happier People. And it's really about understanding that when you think about in a company, if you see that one person is getting ahead of another or a group of people is getting ahead of another, you don't know, there's no way of knowing whether they're ahead because they're better and they deserve to be there and it's a properly functioning meritocracy, or if it's because the opportunities were not the same. And that's one of the key things a lot of people forget is that meritocracy means that with the same opportunities, the best people will rise to the top. But if you just see people rising above others, you don't know whether it's because of meritocracy or it's because of discrimination. And so we basically set out to do that. Yeah.
So, yes, right. But I feel like, does anybody care? You know what I mean? Like you're not wrong. Like I feel like, and I love, number one, I love getting to definitions because I find that like there's the cultural definition of a thing, and then there's the actual definition of a thing, and that's a bunch of words that we could probably talk through. And so then I wonder, like, I feel like this work that you're doing to surface these definitions is important because there's a sobering reality around like what's being said to us versus like what is actually true. And I feel like Cameron and I talk about it a lot around like there's a lot of things being said, but then what's actually true. So they're saying, meritocracy, but then they appoint people who clearly have no merit, right, or have no abilities. And this is at the highest level of power, supposedly in our land. And
Yep.
then there's something that makes you then not trust the definition itself to say like, well, they're telling us is that, but we know it's not that, to your point of like verifying it. Do you think that, and maybe this is where you're going with your work, but like, will this come back to a place where corporations have to care about it, or or like in the next administration, will it move to like where somebody's going to care about it
Yeah.
again, where it becomes instituted
Yeah.
in the system? Like, what kind of trends are you seeing? Like, what I'm
Yeah.
curious about. Yeah, tell me on
Yeah.
that.
No, and you ask a great question, and I forgot to say something important about why I got into the work the way that I did. When I was personally interested in DEI. What I mean by that is I always thought there were a lot of injustices. I thought it was really horrible. I came from a different country, so I saw it as an immigrant, and I saw that for me as an immigrant, it was a hell of a lot easier than, to be very candid, being a Black person in this country is something that I love the culture, but I don't envy what you have to put up with every day, right? And so I was sitting there thinking, how do I change
Thank
the
you on
mind?
behalf of us, seriously.
No, listen, I mean,
it's
look,
the acknowledgement for me.
No, it is for me too.
Yeah.
No, I mean, look, I live in Harlem. I have a lot of, I've been working in this space for 11 years. I have a ton of friends who do not look like me. And so I don't like get it, because I will never understand what it's like, but I'm not stupid, and I've been seeing things long enough, and I've been talking to people long enough that I kind of get it. But one of the things that I really was a little bit surprised by is that a lot of the work that I saw was really focused on issues of fairness and justice and why we need to do this. And I came into it and I thought to myself, well, could I come up with a way to show a CEO that they're going to make more money in their company, not these like McKinsey, like, we can add $1 trillion to the economy, because quite frankly, that's BS, because it's based on some, statistical analysis that does not apply to individual companies, right? And so I developed this way of quantifying. When I say higher profits and happier people, I can literally show a company how they're losing money today by virtue of the fact that they're treating different people differently. And if only they could stop doing that, if only they could figure out what it is that they're doing to some of their employees that make them less comfortable, less feeling of belonging, less satisfaction, less engagement, they could figure out where they're losing the money, how they're losing the money, and how to make more money. And so both with the measuring inclusion and now with the measuring merit, the reason why I think this is going to be an interesting proposition is that I go to these people and it's not about, I don't say anything about, the guilt or you're making bad decisions. Who the hell is deciding meritocracy?
Well, we get to the money.
Right.
To the money.
It goes right to the wallet. It goes right to the wallet. And I do think that this is, it's not the only way to do it, but I think it's a very important piece of the puzzle that, in my opinion, was kind of missing. Because, we argue about like, more diverse teams are more innovative. Well, the average employee in the average company, how many hours a day are you innovating? Very few people do that, right? Oh, yeah, well, we need to have more diverse teams to deal with more diverse markets. Again, it's like, how many people are actually going out there talking to your prospective clients, right? To me, the point is very different. If I have a team and that team is working perfectly, meaning that they each perform at their peak and they work really well together, and then I do something that causes one person to perform less well than their potential, then I'm shooting myself in the foot, because it means that the team is going to perform less well. And so what I try to focus on is, what are the things that make people less able to perform? And I think that there are really two things, right? One is what I call inclusion. To me, inclusion, the way that I see it, is less about the feelings and it's more about, are the experiences and opportunities that I have in the company the same regardless of what should be irrelevant factors, like my skin color, like my sexual preferences, right? And then the other piece of it is, when my work is actually evaluated by the company to determine whether I deserve to get paid more, I deserve to get promoted, I deserve that extra bonus, whatever the case might be, are those decisions being made, again, without regard to things that should be relevant, like skin color, like sexual preferences, etc. And so those two things, the first one is what I call inclusion. And it goes back to what I said before. You need to make sure that the opportunities are the same and that if there are differences in outcomes, they actually reflect the differences in the contributions that people made, and not simply because, oh, you went to the same school as my friend's daddy, and therefore I'm going to,
It's
I'm going
so
to give you
layered, though.
It is. Paulo, thanks for joining. This sparks a few different things. One, the diversity, equity, inclusion. I really did my deepest learning on it as an industry, as a science, and as a way during my time at the White House. Like one thing I'm super proud about it and played a little bit part in, but super proud about in the Biden-Harris White House. Like he opened literally an office of diversity, equity, inclusion. A good friend of mine, Michael Leach, was the first ever director. Just dropped a new best-selling book about faith over fear and so forth. But I learned a lot because he and Myra, who worked in that office, were right down the hall. And like I really just asking real questions, like during in between time and stuff, just understanding how he was trying to seek to apply that across government. And really, because before that, it's a thing you understood, but I didn't work in any huge corporate environment to where I was impacted. We may brought in DEI experts for certain projects and things. And then I've worked in Congress, didn't exist, worked in other places that it didn't necessarily exist. We may bring in experts for specific things. Yeah. My question to you, and now seeing the tone and tenor that has been set from the top, because anything diverse, DEI is literally being punished with taxes, overregulation. Like they're pulling every lever of the government that they can, at least at a corporate level, to be able to do something. And then the trickle down effect that I've seen is that companies, nonprofits, anyone who may receive money from government, receive money, whether it be from the government or from large corporations, are having to adjust there because anywhere in their pipeline, they can't see that. And then the third leg of that is the erasure in the media of the even concept of it. Like we don't even hear it talked about, or it's just been reframed in any main media, even if something is meant to be diverse. I don't understand, even with the benefits, like you can, like to your point, you can show the actual financial and employee benefits, and company benefits from a statistical analysis. You can make that argument, but I don't see the shift coming back like immediately, because there's no president who's going to say everybody institute DEI. They may offer a warm, like say like, hey, we're about diversity, equity, inclusion, and even if they reinstate that office, but now whether it has to be reframed as a new name just because of the politicization that word, I'm curious to like how you see that shift, or how do you see it implementing forward? Because I just think it's that field and those three letters, those three words in their order can never be said the same, can never be implemented the same again due to all those three different pillars that I discussed.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, first of all, I really appreciate your perspective. And again, I want to be very clear about the fact that because of what it looked like and because of my background, I see things in a way that are not always right. They're not always complete. I come at it from a somewhat weird angle, mixture of science and things of that sort. But to me, there's this weird thing that I've been noticing in the last 10 years, which is that I believe that there have been some things that those of us that have been working in DI, we've made some mistakes. And I think that the people that are not working in DI have made some mistakes as well. And what's happening right now that really worries me is that instead of focusing on the shared ideals, what's a shared idea? Like to me, most people, not everybody, okay, and I understand it's not everybody, but most people would agree that being able to get hired, get rewarded, get promoted on the basis of your skills and your effort and not on the basis of your color, skin color, whatever the case might be, that would be great. That would be desirable. And so we all tend to agree to that. But the problem is that then we make different assumptions, right? We make assumptions that there are discriminations that prevent that from happening, or we make assumptions that, my God, if we give Black people an advantage, that's reverse discrimination, right? And stuff like that. So to me, what's going to matter, the fundamental problem that I've seen that I believe has happened in DEI, and again, please bear with me if you don't agree with me. I'd be happy to discuss it. I think that the problem, you talked about the order of those words, right? We've talked about DEI, but I would argue that 99% of the data that we measure and of the progress that we measure and the targets that we set are focused on the D alone. We focus on representation, how many people.
Agreed.
And here's the problem. It's very difficult to argue that if you're going to, say, hey, I'm going to increase, we have, 10% men of color, 10% women of color, 20% white women, and the remaining 60% is white men. But, we see the light. We're going to increase the number of white women to 30% and, people of color to whatever percent, right? It's very difficult for somebody who happens to be white and male not to feel like, holy cow, that's kind of discriminated against me, right? But here's what I would ask people. It's like, and in fact, it's very easy to show that if you just focus numerically on the overall complexion of the company, it does look like you're shifting things in one favor or the other. But it turns out that that's kind of the wrong way to think about it for two reasons. From a point of view of individuals, what I ask people is the following. Suppose that your company set these goals to increase the representation of people of color by 10% in the next 3 years. And you open your eyes 3 years later and you look around and there are two options. Option one, you see that you've hit those targets, but you're still treated like crap. They still ignore what you say. They still make you feel like an outsider. You still see no way.
That's literally what's happening.
That's exactly what's happening with these diversity-based targets. Option two is maybe you haven't quite hit those targets, but when you open your mouth, people listen. And when you're in the meeting, you're there with your true self and you feel like you belong and you feel like you see a path to become a leader of the organization if you want to. And I ask people, what do you want? If you want the first choice, you want diversity. But if you want the second choice, which what I think most people want, is you want inclusion, right? And so I think that that's been a fundamental problem, is that back in the day after civil rights, when more women and more people of color started to get into the workplace, and they could tell there was something really messed up going on. They could tell they were treated like crap. But the only thing that we could measure back then was, oh, look, why is there only two of us here? The representation is not enough. And so that diversity became kind of the beacon that everybody's been following. But if you look, there's a really, really interesting thing that a lot of people don't, I mean, it's obvious because it's all over the place, right? People talk about the McKinsey data about like, oh, if we had more women, this is what would happen, et cetera. But if you look at the McKinsey lean-in data that they publish every year, where they look at the representation of 4 buckets, they use those 4 buckets: white men, white women, women of color, men of color. And if you look at it at the entry level, white men make up 34% of the workforce. 34%. By the time you get to the C-suite, they make up 57%. And there's like this pyramid, and we've all seen the pyramid. We've all seen how companies start being much more diverse, and they become more homogeneous. So my question is, why do we worry about pumping more people into a leaky bucket, where the problem is not that we're not hiring enough people? The problem is that we're losing them along the way. And every single company on the planet, if you look at their representation rates, and then you look at their retention rates, you find that they match really closely. We're bleeding out people of color. We're bleeding out women. We're bleeding out people with disabilities. We're bleeding out members of the LGBTQ community. And why are we doing that? Well, it's because we are treating people like crap once they get inside the organization. And my opinion is, I can link that treating people like crap to money. I have a calculator on my website where you can literally put in how many employees you have, what are the buckets that you use, what are the levels of satisfaction or inclusion or engagement, whatever measure you use, how much money are you losing today because of the fact that the white man's satisfaction is here and the black man's satisfaction is here, or the white woman's satisfaction is here. Well, I mean, think about it. If you are less satisfied, you're going to produce less and you're more likely to leave.
Is anybody doing this right? Do you think there's any companies that are doing it well? Because I think
yeah.
Well, let's go there first, because my other question is around like my other thoughts. One, I like to geek out on like numbers and things like that. So literally in my mind, I'm thinking about what the math has to be in order to calculate this. So I can't, I don't want you to, reveal too much of your secret sauce. But like my thought was like, okay, boom. But like, how do you assign a value or a number? Or is this based on just like averages of what you've seen over time? Because like, how do you say like, okay, well, this, loosely stated, this person is worth more than this person. This is what I think is triggering. To be honest with you, I think that this knowing that these people have more, not more worth, but if they are included, there's a balance of your of making more money. I think that people know it, and they don't want it for ego purposes. So like it goes beyond it moves back into social. So first it becomes like a monetary thing, because we know on the VC side, you know, like you said, there's data that tells you if you have women on your board, if you have, you know, people of color in your company, like you're gonna make more money. And so
Mhm.
sometimes some investors will ask for it, require it, recommend it, X, Y, and Z sometime, because they'll go, wait a minute, y'all ain't got enough diversity here. What's up with that? Right. And
Yeah.
that means that we're gonna lose money as investors. Right. Because if you don't have the diversity, you're not making money. And then I can't get, you know, like that whole thing. But then we go, well, wow, if people know this, why aren't they making different decisions on who they
Yeah.
bring? And that's where you get into the social aspect and the ego aspect. But going back, my question is who is doing this right? And then from a mathematical standpoint, I'm curious about how you come up with the formula to be able to say you're making less money, you making more money kind of thing.
Yeah. So I can tell you, you know, who's doing it right. I think that there are several companies that I've seen that are doing really good things. Actually, recently I had the honor of being invited to be part of a of a sustainability inclusion committee for a large fashion company called Inditex. They own Zara and a number of other brands, and they're like the largest company in Spain. The founder is still alive, and I'll tell you, the culture in the place is unbelievable. And they have an enormous group that's working on internally. It's working on inclusion and working on sustainability, and their employees are happy. They paid much better than anybody else, and their results are spectacular. These people, there is like no question about it. And I've seen other companies. You know, we all hear about Costco and you know, Quick Stop, whatever, the gas station chain. There's a lot of evidence that when the leadership believes that treating employees better, regardless of what they look like, is a good business strategy, you always see very good results. The problem is that those are typically just based on, let's try this out and see if it works, because we believe that treating people better will make them happier. And so then this ties to the second part of your question, which is how to actually calculate it. The data that you mentioned, like for example, I firmly believe that the idea that having more women on your board actually makes your company perform better is wrong. You have
You do? You think that's wrong?
and I'll tell you why.
Okay, say
The
more.
conclusion is wrong.
Tanya, I
And
see.
let me explain why.
Okay.
If you have a correlation between two things, it does not mean that A causes B or B causes A. It could be one or the
True.
other, or it could be something in between. So when you see that companies that have more diverse leadership have a higher performance overall, okay, there are three possibilities. One possibility is that because you have more diverse leadership, you're performing better. It could be that because you have more money, you can afford to be more diverse. Or it could be that there is a third factor that creates both more financial performance and more diversity that is causing both of those things to grow together. And one of the things that I proved in my first book is that if you have a more inclusive organization, meaning that you ensure that all people have the same opportunity to have the same experiences, et cetera, you will get greater diversity and you will get greater financial performance. And so that's the number one piece of that. But then the question is, okay, so how do I convince a leader? Well, telling me that statistically over 1,000 companies, there's a slight correlation, even if I believed that it was actually a causal link, that A causes B, it doesn't help me. How many CEOs, how many parts of a company does a CEO run by looking at the correlations across thousands of companies? It's like, oh, you know what? I looked at a correlation that says that red products do slightly better than blue products. I'm going to make my entire product line red. I mean,
and if
we
they
don't
do,
do
it's
that.
in marketing.
Marketing, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, like if they do,
Exactly.
it's in
Internal.
investments.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So with that, Paulo, that's true, because I think when you hear about the DEI, when you hear about DEI, pro DEI comments from those who are not in the industry, or those who are not like, you know what I mean, data scientists or experts like yourself, it's always there's a stat game. Like Omi, they're saying, we know that if more women, like we hit you with the stats.
Yeah.
But it makes total sense when you say it. But when I say it now, it's like, well, yeah, if I go to a CEO or board and say, statistically, if I look at the model, when is that actually applied because there's so many nuance into each company to each company. My
Exactly.
thing, I'm a
And we're
comps
not
person.
doing it with any other thing. So I'm thinking about
Yeah.
it as a CEO myself. Like, I know that, but maybe I'm doing it. I'm not. Maybe as CEO of a nonprofit, I look at board behavior, maybe, but that's because I'm trying to choose the right board members, but not even based off of like race, gender, any of that, based off of behavior, man. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So like I'm looking at behavior, I'm not even looking at whatever the DEI things would be. So this you know what though? This brings us to a place of in people radical take why the industry did need to shift. Like so like the way it happened, I'm not here for it. But the DEI industry did need a change because it is what you're saying is true. And we weren't gonna actually achieve things that way. We weren't gonna actually get to a place where companies treated people better that way. We
Yeah.
weren't.
Yeah.
I don't agree with the way. Of course, I don't. I run a company called Black Girl Ventures, but but I can see where like, oh, this what happens next. So one, I want you to get to the science because I got to let you go. I want you to get to the science behind how you correlate. And Tanya, I see you in the weight room. I want to
Yeah.
get you to the science behind how you correlate the people to the dollars and that kind of thing for as much as you can reveal. Because again, I want you to
Yeah.
give away your secret sauce.
Yeah.
And
Can
then
I ask?
my final thing is, where's the industry going? Is it
Yeah.
coming back? Do you think it's not coming back? Do you think it's coming back different? And what's
Yeah.
your question? Go ahead.
And add on to that, my question, I'm a comms guy. We need another name. We need to rebrand this because it's at the end of the day, there's deep understanding, and as you shared so many things and the benefits, and it's something that I would like for us as a country and as to implement, but it's got to be rebranded, quite
Yeah.
frankly.
Yeah.
Do you have any suggestions of the name when you say where the industry is going? When you answer that question?
Yeah, so I do, and actually, and by the way, this is a complete coincidence. But tomorrow at 12 p.m. EST, I'm doing a talk on, and the title again, we're being careful about the DI language. So we talk about how to move HR from a cost center to a revenue driver, but it's the same stuff. And I'm going to talk about how we calculate some of these things and how we show that you can treat human assets the way that you treat financial assets to make it much, much, much easier to do what we used to call DEI. And the term that I use to answer Cameron's question, and then I'll come back, Omi, to what you're asking before. I've coined this term. I call it inclusive meritocracy. And the reason why I do that is because at the very beginning of the meritocracy book, we say, look, the only way that you can tell if a system is actually meritocratic is that you need to measure the inputs and the outputs. So you need to measure the inclusion, and you need to measure that the merit is being evaluated properly. And then I show immediately how that links to the financial success of a company. And it's that kind of 1-2 punch. How do I show the link? So superficially, and we'll talk about, we have this calculator on our website that's a simplified
Tell me
version.
real quick before you,
Yeah.
because I can put it up. What's your website?
So the website is aleria.tech. It's spelled ALERIA.TECH.
Got it. And are
And
you
if
on
you look
Instagram or
under-
anything like that?
I'm sorry?
Are you on Instagram?
I'm not Insta to say I'm just a LinkedIn guy. Hey, I mentioned at the beginning I'm a boomer, right?
Fair. Okay,
So
Larry.
I find that it's better to just focus on one, and I gave up X and Facebook a long time ago. But so Aleria.tech, if you look tomorrow, if you happen to be available at 12 o'clock, but if you go to Aleria.tech, there's a resource, one of the menu, it shows an inclusion calculator. There's literally a calculator where you can put in your numbers and see the results. And the idea is very simple. If I am a woman, and by virtue of being a woman, I'm 10% less satisfied than the same man, it means that there is a certain probability that I will leave the company and you have to pay to replace me. And that means there is an attrition cost associated with that gap. And I will be producing less, which means that I'm making less revenue for you.
Okay.
And so the calculator actually shows, based on how big these groups are and how much of a difference there is in the level of satisfaction, inclusion, whatever you want to call it, engagement, belonging, how much money your company is losing without you realizing it. And it's not statistically, it's like your company, you have 2,000 people, this many white people, this many people of color, this many men, this many women, this many people with disabilities, and it can literally tell you how much money you're probably losing today. And then what we published in the first one was, how do you then measure that? How do you actually go and find out what is causing these people to be less satisfied? And that's what the whole measuring inclusion and measuring merit is all about. And
I love that from an engineer. So my engineering brain perked up because I'm like, the way that you took that there's no argument around the cost of what it means for people to leave, right? Like that, those numbers feel very clear. That was a way better way to measure it than trying to go from like the other end, which is like what people are making, or like the cost of promoting them, or the cost of keeping them. But like the cost of people being let go is huge.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
because there's letting them go, there's hiring a new person, there's training costs, there's like all these costs that are associated. And it's interesting, another conversation, but when people go for like what they feel like they're worth, and they're like, here's the dollar amount I want to earn, I don't think they even know that companies are thinking about this whole picture of like, what's going to be, I'm going to pay more than what you earn for you. So like, I got to calculate that too. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna pay to train you. I'm gonna pay to, you got all these other, whether it's insurance, perks over time, yeah, like all these different things that I have to measure that are not just about the dollar amount you feel like you should earn, which is I feel like I got this year and I got this experience, so I should make 6 figures. Everybody now wants to make 6 figures. So everybody comes in saying I need to immediately make 6 figures, and it's like, bro, I got to look at your 6 figures plus the training time it's going to take. And if you get in here 3 months and you leave, that's another cost associated. But the cost associated with that, I haven't heard anybody talking about that yet. I freaking love that. That's dope. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Thank you so much for coming. And like,
thank
you so much.
And let's keep the conversation going. I'd love to talk again at some point. And if you're available tomorrow at noon, come stop by. You'll enjoy what we'll talk about, because it'll be a lot more details. But anyway, cool, hey, listen, I have to tell you, Omi and Cameron, you guys are great. Love what you're doing. Really appreciate it. Thank you for giving me a chance to talk about some of my work, and
thank you for sharing.
Yeah, no, this was great. This was great information.
This was in depth. I
good.
liked it.
Yeah,
excellent.
Thank you. All right, have a good rest of your day. We'll talk soon.
You too.
All right, man.
Let me find out. We got DEI allies like that. I love it.
No, I love it. I think, well, the thing is like, okay, on a woo-woo level, okay, this has nothing to do with Paulo, but on a woo-woo level, who was it? I was watching somebody talking, they were saying like, you know, if you believe in like reincarnation or whatever, you believe that people have like more than one lives, which I do. That like, you don't know who was black. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like somebody might, you like, somebody's supposed to blocking another life. Again, this has nothing to do with Paulo, but I'm just saying that like some people was blocking another life. You don't know. You have this affinity, and you feel it in your spirit, you feel it in your bones for people of color, you know. But I think that, but on a more serious note, solving problems in this space is still necessary, still valuable, still worth it. And so like, I really appreciate seeing people figure out what they're going to continue to do in the face of like everything, everything that's happening, right? It's like, we got to do that. Like, it's not enough to just go, we're going to change the name. It's not enough to go, we're going to just, okay, well, I'm going to just not do this work anymore. It's like, so I really appreciate the heart for continuing to work in a way that I'm not gonna say make sense, because it's not that the work didn't make sense at all, but I would say like in a way that like pushes the conversation forward. And I love that part. We need to push the conversation forward.
I think it, from a practical side, or a practical side of it, is the work is always going to get done, because there's HR. As long as you have human resources, there's some level of statistical analysis and things, but in terms of the framing of where it is, not the work, I should say. There is some level of information and data that has to continue to happen, but the focus of it, and the application of it, and the correlations of it, and the studying of that, and then the implementation of it has not been done unless there is DEI. I'm going back to just when I think about critical race theory, CRT, when I think about woke, when I think about left, right, when I think about DEI, all these politically charged words that mean something now that didn't really mean, they now mean something. They mean whatever the politicians and like whatever society and whatever they've been has been branded. And that's where I'm fearful, because the work of DEI work, and I loved how he said, we really need to talk about the inclusion the equity inclusion part more than just the diversity. When it comes back, it like what's our new branding? Because it's like it's not something we can just throw our hands up and say, you know what, no more equity work, no more inclusion work, no more diversity work. Like we have to continue to fight for it, but we have to rebrand it because now the same way like critical race theory doesn't even mean what people think it means, but it just became a political charged word and it took on everything that usually it was a Republican right side. It took on a lot of different things. It just was meant to me a bunch, just like woke. Like, yo, I'm woke. You mean what? I'm awake. I'm not asleep to what you're doing. Like it. These words have become politically charged, and DEI, I think, has now been forever branded. We can't like take it back and say, "Oh, let's make it good again." It's gonna have to be called something else.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think too, like stay woke. Be aware of people naming things. Because once you start naming things, like if you can name it, you can, you know how to go. If you can name it, you can claim it. If you can name it, you can work on it. If you can name it, you can ban it. So be mindful, like when people start working, like naming, because critical race theory, child, maybe that was a term in academia, but I grew up in North Carolina. Every year we watch Eyes on the Prize. Every Black History Month we watch Eyes on the Prize. All the episodes of Eyes on the Prize every year. And I thought that's what everybody was doing everywhere. You know, I thought all kids watched Eyes on the Prize. So I moved to Maryland and realized they didn't know nobody but Martin Luther King. And I was like, well, I didn't move to Maryland, but
Oh,
DMV. And I was like, oh, that's
hold up, they
interesting.
didn't watch Eyes on the Prize in DMV.
No, they did not watch Eyes
That
on the
was like
Prize in DMV.
good. Let me just take care of these kids for a week and don't and just
Right. And
shut them up. Shut
then
them up. I'm gonna roll the TV in. I'm gonna roll the
right.
TV in.
That's what it was. Across multiple classes too.
Yes,
All
I
the way
said
through high school.
for a week at least.
Yeah, all you was doing watching Eyes on the Prize. And I mean, like in hindsight, it was so super helpful. But like in those moments, like I'm like, oh, okay. You know, like I don't think I knew what was happening fully. I mean, I knew it, but it wasn't like, oh my God, they treated my people so bad. Like I didn't have that thought. And I don't know if the white kids in class was like, oh my God, I treated people so bad. Like that never happened that I know
That
of.
never happened.
Like,
But
so it's like people
but
made up this idea of that.
by osmosis, because when you tapped in, because I don't remember what grade, if that was high school, middle school. Whenever I watched it, I love the fact that we watch some of these videos because it's still in my brain
Oh
and you
yeah.
understood. And whether you were the type of family, like sometimes I knew families, even mine did too. Sometimes you go home, what y'all talk about, and then we add another layer and we dive in and teach more. And some of it was like, I know people who's like family probably never said anything, but at least you had some level of exposure to it. And I went to a 50-50 school up into high school. And then I got shipped to an all boys, all white high school. Jesuit high school on the other side of town. But it was like we were 60-40, 50-50. Like that was the beautiful thing about the part of Cleveland I was in.
My
So it's like,
whole school experience has been majority Black. You know, there's something. This is, I don't know where. Sorry, I didn't even cut you off from where you were going, but like, that's the conversation too. Maybe not for this moment, but like around like my experience has been Blackity Black, and I know other people who are not Black who've had Blackity Black experience, especially like some Asian folks that grew up like in our community. Like a lot of them had Blackity Black experiences, and that there's something to that I have to honor that I didn't realize till I became an adult. I went to majority Black elementary, majority Black middle school, majority Black high school, majority Black college. I wasn't in class in a majority white classroom until I took like grad school classes. And so I got my teacher certificate and I was taking classes at UNC Charlotte. Like that was the first time and it was culture shock for me. Like sitting in the classroom. And it wasn't until I started teaching that I ever like teaching in the DMV at Alexandria at TC Williams High School that I ever even taught a class that wasn't majority people of color. So it's just this level of like experience. I don't know what happened to Cameron. He'll be back. It's something that we don't talk about because it is relevant to your purview and your POV, right? And your understanding of the way different lives are being lived. Even other Black people that didn't go to majority Black schools, we have a totally different POV. Like sometimes I'm like, what? It feels so normal for me to be so embedded in being black in different ways that I think doesn't always feel the same to people who didn't go to majority black schools. But it's regular for me. I don't think about it. Like I don't, and so I don't know. It's really interesting. But I also grew up with a dad who is really much like doesn't like black, like doesn't like white people. It was such a really, which also made me more like inclusive as a person. And I think that has happened to generations of children too. When you live with a parent who is very polar about the communities they care about, you tend to either be polar as well, and this is across the board. You tend to either, from what I've seen, you tend to either be just as polar as the parent, or you tend to be way more inclusive. You tend to go like, my parent is a racist, basically. I'm not saying it about my dad, but I'm just saying that like people tend to do that, and then they go, but that's crazy. Let me go find out what else the world has. And then people tend up being more diverse, or you end up being a staunch racist yourself, like the Murdoch people. But I would say that it is.
Did you watch the Murdoch?
I did. I
Netflix?
watched it last night. That's what made me say that.
First of all, you know what was crazy? I did not know Raucous Records, one of the most
Literally, I
backpacky.
was gonna text you that.
I
I
had
didn't
no
know they
idea that
discovered
Raucous
Mos
Records.
Def.
Yeah,
So
I didn't know
anyway,
that.
so let me say the one son, Lachlan, is the one that is like supreme right. Let me not paint them all that way, because James clearly wanted to be embedded in culture. You know what I mean? Like he really was like Raucous Records. I did not know that either. You know, but what I mean, look, let's hold on that because I need to bring Tanya. I was out here waiting for a minute. But like speaking of inclusion, her company works with moms. And I think like it is what we're talking about is really interesting around where, even down to like the Rockefellers and things like that, like, in being embedded in black culture and supporting black culture is not you have to be this race or the other race thing. Like it's not that at all. And I think that like those who have, I was also like, wow, these kids just, their whole life was just handed to them, like in a way. You know what I mean? Like it is crazy. Like even the way that like going to the kinds of schools or like, I'm just gonna start TV stations. What? Like I was like, that is
But
amazing.
you gotta realize, I mean, I'm not saying that's what we all aspire to do, but there's a level of like, because you saw like Rupert Murdoch's father started a tabloid and was one of the most powerful people in Australia back in the 20s, in the teens. And he understood the power of the headline and the tabloid. And like he said, hey, I need to lead with crime. I need to lead with, sports and like a couple other core like pillars that people care about. I mean, this is not me shooting bail, but like, yeah, if I grow up and I'm literally one of the most powerful people in the world, definitely in the country I live in, but in the world, I'm gonna hand my kids some stuff too.
No, I think that's right. I'm just saying that I think that when we talk about, no, of course, but I'm just saying that like, and that's across the board. What I think is missing in the conversation around like, well, what the black community gonna do is like, we're babies when it comes to legacy. Like
Yeah.
literally, like we are probably the youngest when it comes to legacy
It would have
among
needed
cultures.
It would
So
have
it's like-
we would have needed to be stacking like Rupert Murdoch is stacking money and influence on who knows what his father had to do back in Australia to make that something shake, because they were saying his father was impactful in like getting politicians fired and the president. So his father, there were less rules and no cameras. His father probably had to do some shady things running a
absolutely.
newspaper. He might have running a newspaper and having that kind of power. So for him that, like, we're not stacking that level of influence. Like it's the equivalent of like if you wanted to be LVMH, we would have needed been stacking what Madam CJ Walker did. Like we had to stack on top of that, and she could have never sold.
And this is why I'm saying like the question, I know, and Karen dismissed this when I tried to say it to her, but I'm like, when we're like, oh, what we gonna build, how we gonna build, it's like the question is gonna be what is Beyonce, Jay-Z, whoever, Richard, what is Tyler Perry gonna do? What is Oprah gonna do, because this is not about right now. This is what's gonna be 20 years, 30 years from now. So like what they do right now is a matter of what's gonna be 20 or 30 years from now. It's not, I don't know that.
Whether they do it for the community or their
That's
family,
right.
somebody,
For
it might not be, because it's not like Rupert Murdoch was like, hey, white community, or hey,
He
he said,
wasn't.
my
Hey,
family.
Australian community. Hey,
No, he was
immigrants.
like, no,
None
my
of that.
family, y'all right here about to figure it out. And then he realized, like, oh, you about to, I'm
Same thing with the
93 years old.
Cowboys.
Yep,
Same thing
he's
with
like, exactly, Dallas Cowboys. Oh, you about to mess my legacy up? Cutting y'all off. You're gonna get some money, but cutting y'all off. And they want the power, because it's like they
want power.
They don't want the money. Like, they're gonna
That's
get
the
billions.
thing.
They're gonna get billions of dollars, like legitimately $10 billion or more each is coming their way, and they want the power. They don't want just the money,
because they already got, like,
they have money. Like,
they
that
had
don't even
money
mean nothing.
already. So
That
money
don't
wasn't
mean nothing to them.
It don't. And I think that's what people miss. And like people don't want to hear that. Like every social post where people put, like, not every social post, but multiple social posts, people like, yeah, because they trying to get that money. Ain't nobody trying to worry about no money once you already making M's and B's. You like, bro, what else is there? I'm trying to have power. I'm gonna take my money and put it where I'm putting it. Right. I'm trying to create legacy. I'm trying to create the long standing soldiers of me. I mean, like, that's literally it. That's why they start having kids. That's why he left that wife, went with the younger woman, because he like, nah, I need to have some more kids. Like this.
No, that's what Kennedy. No, they understand legacy, and they understand. Hey, there are very few people who get to leave marks at that level, whether you agree with the mark or not. There's just, and it also is the kind of person you are. I've sniffed and I've been around. Like, I don't say I sniffed, but I like, because that sounded wild when I said that. I was like, I sniffed the corridors of power. I don't know what I was saying. Like, I've seen and had some conversations with some powerful people, and then I've seen and you've seen and observed some people who are really thinking like multi-legacy, and I've only been around a couple billionaires. The longest billionaire conversation I had, and it wasn't about money, but it was about legacy and what he was imprint on the world. It's like, oh, he's like, first generation, I wanted to make money to be good. And there was like little luxuries. I wanted to do some things. He's like, I got over that within a year. Like, once I made it was before I made $1 billion, but I got over that. And then he starts just looking at problems to solve. And it's like, how could I impact this problem to solve? He's clearly worried about making money and makes his country's making money. But if you think this fool is thinking about, I need 10 more million, 5 more million, 50 more million. He's like, what I'm doing is I'm worrying about protecting the money. So it's taxes and liabilities and that. He's like, that I'm worried about. Not divorcing or not marrying the wrong person, all that. I'm worried about protecting this, because all this is a tool that will grow. And I can now use this tool to do something else. And but at the same time, I don't think it is. I do think it is. They understand I still need to keep making money. So it is about the money still.
I feel like, okay, Tanya, we bring you up. Okay, I feel like Wendy Ding, they didn't say a lot about, like, they didn't have a lot of conversation about her, but I feel like her and Rupert had like a business deal. I feel like she knew what it was. She knew what it was because she
the
also,
last woman, the Asian woman.
I feel like she knew what it was. I feel like it wasn't about love for her. I feel like it was, in my opinion, this is my opinion watching the story, I feel like she also cared about legacy. And I feel like she helped him get well. That's why he's still living. Wendy Ding is the reason why Rupert Murdoch is still living at 95 years old. Because she started being like, nah, bro, drink this juice, get your butt in the gym, let's go. Like, he started working out. He started changing his diet. Wendy Ding came, matter of fact, Paul, I love to talk about the value of diversity. Like, Wendy Ding came in and said, nah, bro, wrap this up. She was hard on him. And he followed what she told him to do. You know what I'm saying? That's what's so interesting about some of this. And then she had and then they
made sure she had them babies.
That's
And then when
right.
he dropped that, hey, they're all gonna equally be taken care of.
Yo, Wendy
So
Dating
that's
need
when the
her own
kids.
story.
That's when those kids were like, his first 3 kids were like, hold up, I'm gonna be rich, but you talking about cutting 10 to $20 billion and potential shares and/or control, diluting my shares.
And you just gonna cheat on my mama?
All right, we got
okay. I'm sorry.
Who's Rose? Is that? Do we have 2 more guests?
We do. Tanya, hello. Speaking of mothers,
Y'all was going in, man. I'm like, let me into this whole
Oh, I
situation.
love the mic. You got the old school mic. What's the cool mic? The mentor mogul at Mom Your Business.
Yes. Is Mom Your Business on Instagram too?
Yes.
Okay.
You're the mentor
Business
mogul.
written
I
out
like
or
that.
Mom Your Biz?
Mom Your Business, all one
Okay.
word.
All right, cool.
Oh, Mom Your. I'm slow. Sorry. I did it. Now I get to, when you say it out loud, like Mom Your Business, Mom Your Business. I get it now.
It's okay. Come on in. Come on.
Hi,
in,
Tanya.
Cameron.
How you doing?
Welcome to the show,
I'm well,
Cameron
Cameron.
Calvin.
How are you?
No, I'm just-
Sorry, I was like, Mom Your Business, and then when you say it quickly, like, oh, Mom, that's cool.
Thank you for joining us, Tanya. Tell us a little bit about what you're working on at Mom Your Business right now.
So right now, Mom Your Business is helping female entrepreneurs build capacity, access to capital, and of course connections. So tomorrow we'll be celebrating Women's History Month. We're going to honor some legends and some innovators in the Philadelphia region. So yeah, that's what we got going on right now.
Are you from Philly?
I am Philly born and raised. On the playground, I spent most of my days. So
yeah, Philly made me. I always say Philly made me a man. Philly made me a man. I was there. I was there almost 4 years.
Okay.
I was born in Chicago, raised in Cleveland. I went to school in DC. Philly, like beat me up in a good way to like give me the resilience to then come back to DC and do everything else. I used to live in Philly for about almost 4 years. I love Philly.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Rose,
That's
we
awesome.
see you
Yep.
down there. We see you in the weight room, right? Hang tight.
Cool.
So tomorrow, how do people get to see the
celebration?
The celebration.
Oh, they can go right on mommybusiness.com, or they can go to our IG and LinkedIn pages. So it'll be great. We have what we always try to do is we really want to celebrate the Black entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs in Philly that have been in the game for a while that really just go unrecognized. You know, we don't really try to do stuff around Women's History Month, but we decided to do something this year because of the climate that we're in, especially with Black women being so under attack. So we really wanted to take an opportunity to spotlight, you know, someone like Denise Gause of Denise's Delicacies, who's been around for almost 40 years and has endured a fire and COVID to still be in business. Somebody like Ann Turner, who was a founder of the Philadelphia Image Alliance, which was a key cog in making sure that during COVID, stylists and hairdressers got money, got grants in order to stay alive and in business until the pandemic lifted. So I think those are the types of things that are worth celebrating, that we should be really kind of recognizing. And those are folks that don't, you know, really get any attention. And then we're actually celebrating one of our former board members. We're going to acknowledge her as a board emeritus, who has been a tremendous blessing to Mom Your Business. So that's kind of what we're doing. We also have Dr. Tia Lyles, who's the only Black queer woman to start a biotech accelerator here in Philadelphia. So we're celebrating her as an innovator. So and Taylor Nickens, who just opened up the only Black owned apothecary tea house in West Philadelphia. And I know Omi doesn't like that whole Black owned kind of thing, but I'm gonna put it out
It's
there
not
anyway.
it. Why you say that? I do like Black owned.
No, you're not. I mean,
Call her
like,
out. Call her
no, hold on, Kim. Like, no, when we did the pop up here not that she don't like it. Let me fix that. Meaning that she doesn't feel as though we talked about it not being a selling point. Like we don't really.
Oh yeah,
It's not.
I think
It's
people
not
have
a selling.
over-indexed on it as
We have over.
but I think
We
it's like
over it.
from a
We do over
celebration.
it.
I actually agree with that. Actually,
From a celebration point though, I was
Yes.
like everything you was just saying. I was like, yes, that's amazing. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
yes,
I think we
yes, yes.
still need to be. I want to be the black first of something. I haven't figured that out yet. So I'm always admiring the people who are the black first of something. I'm like, yes, let's go.
Yes.
Yeah, have you? It's interesting when we think about like DEI, we don't talk about moms. You know, like I don't think that comes up. But have you seen people being like, "Oh, we can't focus on moms"? Like, is that like a thing?
No, I don't think it's a. I don't
Okay,
think it's a
good.
thing. I think what we should really what we do see is black motherhood, right? Because when you look at the fact that in Philadelphia, 60%, 65% of caregivers and black women are head of household. 65% of black women in Philadelphia are head of household, right? That's scary when you think about it. And so when you talk about them in light, and then you align that with job loss over this last year and a half, those are the kinds of things that aligns it or puts it in context when it comes to DEI.
If you are out there, Maria said, how do I get the link for tomorrow? Go to Mom Your Business on IG and take a look. I just also want to give you your flowers. Speaking of like celebrating people, Women's History Month, just saying like the work that you have been doing in Philly to support moms, to support Black-owned businesses is amazing. And it's from the heart, like really genuinely doing the work and like battling where you gotta battle and speaking up where you gotta speaking up and open up space and where you gotta open up space and pushing people and things like that to do what they gotta do, and then opening the doors to these entrepreneurs and being such an advocate for them. You doing amazing work. And I've watched you do this work over time, and I'm just like, yes, like major ecosystem player too, by the way. So if you in Philly and you're a mom, but if you in Philly and you also are just trying to figure out what to do, how to navigate, definitely look up Mom Your Business for sure. Because it's just imperative, a huge ecosystem player. And I've watched you last over time, right? Because like I was talking about this the other day.
How long have you been around again?
It's been since 2017. So we started the
almost
year
10
before.
years, 9 years.
Yeah, almost 10 years. Yeah. So we've been around a year before BGV started.
Congratulations.
Yeah, a year after us. We started in 2016. You look around and just so many of us aren't here anymore.
Yeah,
so many
true.
ecosystem players that used to be like when we was coming up. They were the people. It'd be like, the go-to whatever. Now you can't even find them. Now they're not. It's like it is really interesting to watch.
It really is. It's been, I would say not even last year, over the last 3 to 5 years, you've seen so many folks that's just been like, they've had enough. This is hard work. It's not easy, as and you got to really keep your hand to the plow, so to speak, and really continue to push this thing forward because and one of the things that I wanted to kind of bring to the forefront is like right now Philly is heavily on the microscope because of the 250 annual celebration of our country. And so one of the things that we've been really kind of advocating and pushing for around that is ensuring that Black businesses have access to all of this money that's getting ready to come through our city. And so that's why it's critical for not just myself, but the ecosystems in Philly, the entrepreneur support organizations in Philly, for us to continue to push this narrative and continue to do this work because of the wealth and the impact that's attached to it.
And what's so crazy about the 250th is I've been nervous. People said, I was like, oh, BGV should get under 250th. And I'm like, I'll be honest and say I've been nervous to even participate or sign up on the site or say I'm a partner because I just don't know when Trump is about to co-opt it and then make us all look like we MAGA. You know what I mean? I'm like, and it's sad that I got to be thinking that way when I'm an American. And this is the 250th anniversary of the country that I was born and raised in too. You know what I mean? So like I should get an opportunity to do these things without feeling like
Yeah.
you know, they're gonna throw us in a bucket, and next thing you know, they start running the credits on like all the organizations involved, and it's like, here you are, and then Trump is on stage talking about it, and you like, what the heck? That ain't what I was saying, you know, like
Yeah, yeah.
it's just
I think
crazy.
I think people will understand that, and the co-op, whether it's happening or not, I want to shout out to the Collective PAC. I know they're part of a coalition leading a Black 250 movement, and they're trying to organize Black and Brown,
Oh, is it? Where do you go
Black
find that?
Tri-Caucus. I don't know what they've announced. I just know they did talk about it in their national meeting during the Image Awards. But so I know maybe more information is coming. But they're not the one of only that I've heard of alternative to the big America 250 to talk about other parts of 250. I think 250 is going to be a huge organizing beacon. I don't know if it all happened in Philly, because I feel like what Trump is going to do is lock Philly down, i.e. like nothing's going wrong here. And I don't know, if it have it his way, he's going to do what he did in DC. Like, let me put these tanks in the military, do all of that. He's going to do all that hubbub and waste money in that way. But to the point of Trump co-opting it versus the being able to be a part of it, especially if there's a financial benefit to being a vendor of some sort, I think you don't really lose much, because he says a lot of things.
Yo, Black folk right now is vicious with the online commentary. I think I just been real careful to not. And this is real. This is real because we stand to lose a lot. So I would say that, like,
if we celebrate 250,
we do. I'm saying my company stands to lose a lot if we
Mine
make
too.
any slip ups on with black people right now. Like, and can we get real about this conversation? Like,
here's the thing, Omi, is that I got a email out of the blue from a federal agency, and I won't say what the agency was, that said we have a past application here, and we wanted to know if you wanted to finish the application because there are some new guidelines and things that you need to be aware of in order to access this funding. And I called one of my colleagues and I said, Rico, I said, when I first looked at it, I was like, the first thing that went to my mind, exactly what you said earlier, was like, do I want to do this and then have that arrow put that target on the back of Mom Your Business on that level, on that federal level? We've never received any federal dollars, and I'm actually proud to actually be able
at this
to
point, I am proud to say that.
Right? I'm actually kind of proud at this point, right? I'm actually proud to say that. But it's like, do I want that target on our back? So we decided to just focus on Juneteenth for Phillies 250. That's kind of where we are with it, and that's what we're going. That's what we're going to stay.
Yeah, no, it's real. I mean, listen, I mean, I know. I wish that we were more understanding as a community, but I don't know that we are. And that's why nobody can ever on record say that they heard me saying anything negative about Target, because and I'm saying it to say I've been very clear, to be very open and very vocal about saying I believe we targeted the wrong people, and I believe that, like, everybody has the right to their opinion, and I'm not boycotting. I've said it across multiple airwaves, and so, because if you can get mad at me, I want you to go ahead and get mad and go ahead and tap out and then let it be fine. But, like, I'm telling you, like, I see the support that we've gotten. We were already in a deal with them before all this happened. But still, I'm saying I see the support that the employees behind the scenes are doing on the ground across communities, and I just can't get with the. So I personally am not with it. But I've been open about that because I don't want there to come a day where somebody goes, "Oh, look at them." You know what I mean? They didn't tell it. Nah. You go across any airways you heard me on, and I'm saying the same thing, because I want to be real clear that that's my stance. Now, if you want to not take the money that we're giving out, cool. If you want to not, be a part of the effort that we got going on, I hear you and I respect it. And I think that, but I realize I'm doing that intentionally, and me being transparent and authentic about it, because I'm clear that right now as a community, as a society, we don't have trust for the establishment, period. But as a community, that goes, 2-3 times in. And so if it comes down to somebody being canceled, I want to be clear to like, this is what I've been saying the whole time. Because we out here trying to serve, and I don't got time to be caught up in all the like things that people have. Now, I'm not saying that it's not valid. If you want to do your thing, do it. I'm just saying I'm being transparent about what my stance is. So if it come down to it, can't nobody say that I was saying different, because I want to continue to be a trusted voice, and that matters to me. And so in that, I'm also saying if you sign up and register as a vendor, then the ability to leverage you is a risk that you have to think about. And I'm not saying that means you don't do it if you want to do it, but it is something I have to think about and be like, dang, even with our relationship with Target, I had to think about that too and be like, look, they're not asking us to do any big things or say or advocate. They're not asking us to do any of that. They're asking me to do what I do, which is care about my community and invest this money in a way that makes the most sense for my community. And that's what I'm going to do. But I think that this America 250 thing has been on the table for me, and I've been on the fence about it, because once you register as a vendor, I don't think you're going to have a say in how they use you. And that's the part where I'm like, ugh, I got a say in how these other companies are using me. I can't say that's across the board for everybody, but I have a say. The partners we work with have been very dope to allow me to have a voice, to allow me to be the leader I want to be, and for me to have the power that I have to make the decisions that I want to make. I acknowledge
that's somewhat unique.
That's a unique position
That's
to be in.
That's a unique position.
I acknowledge that, and I had to over time. At first, I didn't see it, but now I'm like, oh, wow. When I talk to other leaders and they be like, yeah, I got this grant from such and such, and that means I got a blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, really? I'm like, nah, like I have had the opportunity to do whatever I want to do with the capital that we have got, and whatever I want to do, meaning with the community. But, like with our Nike relationship, I did a mural, we did a documentary, like all about storytelling, and people were like, wow, you did that? And I'm like, yeah, because they gave me the opportunity to say, what did I feel like would serve my community? And that's what I did. So, Tanya, what you have come up with, I got to let you go so we can let Rose up. But what you've been doing to work with Mom Your Business, I think is amazing. And, growing alongside each other and really rocking and rolling at this work has been a joy for me. I just appreciate you and for always being like a person I could like reach to. And so I'm thankful. I'm so thankful to like have you be a part of my life and my circle.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Well, you already know how I feel about you. So I tell people all the time, Mom Your Business is not here without Black Girl Ventures, right? It's where I honed my craft of pitching. It's where I was able to build, and get the support, and get an opportunity to share. I mean, I remember doing COVID, coming up to DC and doing virtual pitch competitions, right?
Yeah, for
right.
Sure.
And so
we in this thing. Like, let's go.
We in this thing. Like right now, we're doing we started 1 million cups, and one of our coffee sponsors is Win-Win, who I met when I was a judge for Black Girl Ventures.
Yeah,
and so
shout out to Win-Win. Shout out
so those
to
are the kind of things. Those are the kind of relationships and things.
Shout out to Nikisha. She's amazing.
Nikisha's doing well. So I'm grateful for that, and I appreciate you and for the audience as well.
Yeah, okay. Y'all check out Mom Your Business. Go check. Tomorrow will be the celebration. The link is in the bio. Go check them out. Thank you so much for coming, Tanya. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care.
Thank you, Tanya.
All right. We got one more guest before we get out of here. Last but not least, coming to the stage. Hello.
Good morning.
How you feeling?
Good. How are you guys?
We rocking and rolling, Rose. You know what I'm talking about? We making it do.
Awesome. I actually know Tanya, so.
Oh, awesome. Nice. Where are you based?
I'm from Orlando, Florida, but currently I'm in San Jose right now.
You
for a conference? Yeah, I'm here.
You visiting? I was about to say, you out here living? What's up? Okay.
Oh no, I'm here to hopefully make some impact and changes. I'm at the NVIDIA GTC conference.
Let's go. What's your Instagram?
So personal is my name, Rose Legis, and my business is RLENG Tech. That's my business.
RLENG
Tech.
All right, got it. Okay, tell us about a little bit about what you're working on.
Right. So I am CEO of RL Engineering Tech. My background, I have an industrial engineering degree, worked out at NASA for about 15 years, left in 2019 to start my own business. I am data, AI, robotic process automation, just process improvement, just basically like your solution developer, your solution architect. I also have my ecosystem building side, which is how I know Tanya. So I am in BIA with her. That's how I met. Actually, I think I met Tanya in BGV first. So I joined that in 2020 during, just needing a community. And so I joined and I was participating in the Wednesday online work.
Yeah, co-working. Yeah, we still do that too. We have different times, but we still do it.
And I loved it. I mean, it was big in terms of, because I planned to launch my business in March of 2020. We all know what happened. And so it kept me going. BGV really kept me going and pursuing it, even in light of all that was happening. Again, ecosystem building side, I ran a tech organization as the executive director for about 3 years. Currently co-founded Black Innovation Leaders of Florida, where we focus on leveraging all of our contacts, our connections to help other organizations. And so we're not out here to necessarily do the work. We're here to streamline all the resources, money that we have access to because of the things that we've done and our positions, streamline it to those Black-led organizations that need that support and system. And I'm also part of Black Women in AI. So that's actually
nice.
Yeah, so that's why I'm here today. I'm here with the delegation to just be here representing at NVIDIA and also, again, just push equality and diversity in AI. Yeah.
I got so many good questions.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So,
yes.
One, keep the faith. Like that in of itself. I mean, very rarely, if you worked at NASA that long, and that means you probably have a lot of the technical expertise. When marketing your company, are you leaning into the ownership and the structure and the Blackness of it? Because I feel like one of the last places, from my POV, one of the last places in the tech and the now, not in this public front-facing AI, but that B2B AI or B2B technical engineering, it is way more meritocracy based. Well, somewhat meritocracy based. How good can you do? How good of a job can you do, and so forth. How are you navigating selling your services in a business where so few people look like you, but there's still some that one-to-one selling and stuff like that? I'm just very intrigued about how you walk into the room. I've been to some of these science conferences. It's like I'm rare as a Black man, so I know as a Black woman you're that much rarer.
Right. So great question. The answer to that is it's not one thing that I do. I think one of the things that have worked out for me is I use different strategies for different groups. Right. One of the biggest things for me is number one, leveraging and collaborating. And so sometimes I will walk into that room with somebody who looks like me, but she's already established herself in that room. And so it's like, she brings me to the table or I bring them to the table, right? So collaboration is big. I think that's what has made my business grow, is because I don't think of it as just a me situation. I think of it as a us situation. And so we work together. When we go after opportunities, we literally lay out and look at the P-win, right? The probability to win. We look at who has connection to who, and then we choose that person who has the best chance to either get in there or already has a foot in the door, and then we literally follow along. Now that's the reason that's so big is because you got to be able to, on one contract, be the prime or the leader, and then for another contract, the following, the next one, or, you know, that comes right after it, be okay to fall back. A lot of people can't fall back. And in order for us to make it, you got to be able to play those multiple positions. The other thing is I let my work speak for itself. When I was at NASA, again, made a lot of connections. I did a lot of work. Literally before they meet me, they've met my summary, right? My company, my past performance on there. It doesn't say, hey, I'm a woman. It doesn't say, hey, I'm Black. It says, this is what I did. Right. I saved NASA, you know, $500,000 by creating the solution. I did this project that helped improve the failure rates. Like I did all of this stuff. That is what leads before I come into the room. And so
period, first of all,
right.
I love that.
So if I come in and you got all of that of what I've done, and it's again, I've done, you know, I and my partners have done some great work. Take gender and race out of it. We do some amazing stuff. If my gender or my color stops you from winning, because that's what we're going to do. If you bring us on board, then that's on you, because there's a whole bunch of other people who are in that same, who have that same opportunity for us that are waiting for us to look their way. And so that's how we do. We don't harp on people not working with us. We keep it moving because truth be told, there's a lot of opportunity out here. There's a lot of money out here sitting on the table. You just got to find it. You got to work. We can't look for it the same way we used to look for it 5 years ago. We got to think differently. We got to strategize differently. And so that's why COVID, you know, excelled, right? During this new president, excelling, right? And so what I always say is I don't focus on what I can't do, right? I focus on what I can, and I leverage that. And then what you can't do,
and network wise, clearly you're in the right spaces,
right?
And I think, you know, like clearly you're in the right spaces from a network, because I think, again, you know, Cameron was talking about earlier about power, and I think the power really is in the relationships. Yes. Like that's what the power is. I agree. And that the relationship power, this might sound kind of crazy. I'll say radical take, surpasses race in some instances and gender.
It does. Especially if that relationship has the power to make decisions. Yes, it does. And that's the best opportunity for me. I call it backdoor, right? Everybody's going through the front door. You got your tux on, your stuff. No, I like that back door. When they say that these deals are made at the coffee shop or on the golf course, you're thinking, man, multi-million-dollar deal. They're up, in their suits and, in this high-tech area they're in the laid back, most, off the wall atmosphere making these deals. And that's where you want to be.
Yeah, 100%.
That's what you want to get connected to.
What can people expect next? What should people go, if they needed some, tech solutions, if they needed process management, data science, any of those things, where can they go to reach you?
They can go to my website, rlengtech.com, or they can follow us on on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and they definitely can follow me. Because again, the biggest thing with my company is we're leveraging in multiple ways and areas. And so not only are we do training, we teach people how to get government contracts. That's actually one of the biggest things is that how we support. We teach those what we call underestimated groups, right? Because they are underestimated. Like you come in, they don't think that you can do it. And we teach them how to get government contracts. And you don't have to sit there and wait, how many every years. We talk about Lanier Ford. We talk about, these different individuals who came up and, broke that mold and won multi-million-dollar contracts. And they did it by collaboration and those different things. And how do you present yourself to the government to get work? And when we talk about the government, it's not just federal, but we're talking about state and local. And so I'm still getting a lot of government work, right? You just got to, again, it's the way that I present. I am very audacious, right? I go after opportunities where typically I'm like, man, I got 30% of this. I got
I
30%,
like
but my homegirl got 40, and then she has somebody that has the
I
rest.
like
We
that.
go after it all together, and then we
I
win.
love that. I
So
love that. Thank you so much for coming.
thank you for
This is
having me.
great.
All
I'm
right.
excited. I'm happy for you. You just inspired me too. So like, I'm happy for you and what you're working on, and you're dope. You know,
Congratulations.
you know what I
And can
mean.
you
So
let us know if Nvidia is looking like they're shaky? Because my Nvidia stock not doing too
You
well
are
right
so
now.
funny. They're never going to be shaky. They're actually amazing. But I just want to say, also check out Black Women in AI. We're doing some amazing things also through that organization. We just actually, like 2 weeks ago, 11 of us created AI apps and agents and showcased them to NVIDIA judges. And so we're super excited about that. Follow Black Women in AI and the women in there. Angel Bush is our leader and amazing person. And so definitely follow that organization as we work together to just, again, break the mold and start and really just represent when it comes to our community and the AI.
This a fly little website.
Yeah.
I like it.
why
Did
it
y'all
gotta be
use
a
AI
little
to make it?
website though?
Of course.
Ah,
Come
No,
on
but
now.
I mean,
fly
that's
big
it's
website.
hustle,
Man.
right?
It's an
But no,
amazing website. There we
yes,
go.
Yeah, it's
it
a
is.
fly.
All
It's a fly.
encompassing.
No, I don't want to say amazing. It's fly.
It
Like
is
Okay.
the moment I looked at it, I was like, it's cool.
Okay. So
Not little.
now you made me want to go. So everybody got to go look at the website right now, wherever you at.
BlackWomenInAI.com.
Yes.
BlackWomanInAI.com.
Yep.
Okay.
I
Follow.
like that. I like that.
Oh, also, you know, if you're a Black woman out there in AI, like go,
Membership is
yeah,
open. Actually,
yeah,
just open like
go
last
check that
week.
out.
So yes, definitely.
Maria, you know, if you out there, if you're not a member, check it out. All right, thank you so much, Rose. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Yep,
Have a good
thank
rest
you.
of your day.
You too.
All right. What a day.
Why you had to call me out on the? I didn't say little.
Because I hate when
like,
people say that. Yeah, you know, people
little?
go like, oh, you still doing your little director's playbook thing. See how that sounds?
Mm.
You know, it's not a little thing. I remember, like, yeah, there's multiple like social posts making fun of that too, but it's a habit that we do. Oh, that's a nice
It
little
is.
whatever. Like, yeah, you didn't mean any harm by it. For sure, I didn't think that. But it's a habit that we have. We'd be like, oh, I like your little website. You'd be like, why I gotta be a little website?
Little website. Become a member. How do I be? So there's no black men in AI, but
First
there's
of
black
all,
in
here
AI.
we go. I hear that all the
Because
time.
I didn't even think about that, but I want to join Black in
Black-
AI.
I hear there is a Black in AI chat. That's a WhatsApp
There's a black
chat.
there's a Black in AI organization that has like a board of directors and everything.
Oh, really?
I'm signing up right now.
Let
as
me
we
take
speak.
a look at it. Actually, Black in
But there's no
AI.
black men in AI.
Right. I mean, y'all listen, we can't be responsible for everything, you know. Y'all go do it then. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like
Here
people
we
be
go.
looking at
Yeah.
you start a black woman thing, and then people be like, "Oh yeah, but where's the black man version? Where you started at? Where did you start it at? That's where it's at." There's this somebody in another chat that a man was talking about this Black in AI list or whatever. So yeah, I might join that too. I'm not in AI though, so why would I do that? I mean, I'm not in AI. It's at the point where like AI is about to become like in tech. You know, like
Yeah,
first it was
exactly.
like, oh, tech company in tech, and then it was like, actually, who's
You're
not in
tech
tech at this
adjacent.
moment?
You're tech adjacent, like you just tech. All right, we 1 minute away.
We are 1 minute away. Want to give out some thanks. Somebody on YouTube said, I hope y'all do more than 30 days. It is a 30-day show. So this show, the end of the show go in. Yeah, find us a sponsor. That'd be great. Find us a sponsor. That's right. Find us a sponsor. If you are out there and you want to be a sponsor, actually, then
we should. Offline, we should talk about that because I think we should spend the last 10 days activating our audience. I had a real. Oh man, I'm so moving away from Ecamm and to StreamYard. What I just see you doing right now on the screen, I can't do none of that on my live stream.
So I would say, Maria put together an app for me on my landing page for me to be able to take
She
us
went
to
ahead and
Eden.
made that like that you were talking about. She made the
Uh-huh.
landing page.
I
What
just
is the
sent her a
landing
couple
page?
tweets to it. I sent her a couple tweets to it on
Oh, it's not up
DM.
yet.
It's up, but there's a couple things I want to add. So I will promote it to like tomorrow later in the week. But once because I actually, and at this point, me and Maria just need a phone call. This is like it's past us doing this on text. I'm gonna send you my number, Maria, and then we just go get on the phone call.
Oh, this is the power of the show because
Oh
I
no,
thought y'all didn't know each other.
no. I don't think I ever
The way
met.
she tap in, I'm like, I assume she was your friend.
She my friend now. Yes.
What's up, Maria?
What's
how you
up?
doing?
We connected on LinkedIn, but I mean, like, I don't
Luxury
think we ever
Louis.
met. Maria, have we ever met in person before? I don't know. I don't think so.
Maria, follow me on LinkedIn, please.
But
I'd like.
but
I
we
need
friends
this
now.
kind of friendship.
And now the show knows Maria because we mention Maria every day. So now Maria, her official day is the 21st, so she'll be here. And I'm like, everybody has to know we're gonna introduce her. This is morning crew leader, Maria. All right. Shout out to Larise. Shout out to everybody joining on LinkedIn, everybody joining on Instagram. We appreciate y'all. We are at the end of the show. I think that in terms of us going 30 more days, I'm gonna be moving to 3B after this. So I'll be still going, but it'll be a slightly different subject matter. So, and then we'll bring the 30-day show back again later in the year. That's the goal of it. In fact, I'm thinking that we'll do it the last month of every quarter is the way I'm thinking about it at this moment. But
We'll talk about it. But she
sponsors,
gonna go. Sponsors. We should
that's the
spend the last
kicker.
10 days asking about sponsors, finances. Also, I've got the season. This was a perfect lead up in getting going season 5 of the Hip Politics podcast, and some it's going in the digital.
You got a
Director's
trailer?
Playbook.
Because we could drop it. Where's
We're
the
gonna drop it. I'm gonna drop it near the
I
end.
thought you said the trailer was dropping what, midnight the other night, last night?
When you looked at it again, I was like,
No.
I'm critical.
Oh, okay, got it. I understand that. Yeah.
But it's and it's not a trailer to the season. This is like it's a teaser. Well, I'm talking with you real quick. I've got some promo material. I got a teaser of me talking, but I look fly. It's in California. It's me like talking about my journey. It's only like 2 minutes, but it's like really good camera work.
Well, feel
like
free
movement.
feel free
And
to.
then I got a trailer. Of like a couple guests and things that Hip Politics has done to say, like, are you ready for season 5?
Yeah, feel free to bring it. Bring it, show it, whatever. Launch it here while we here. Feel free to do that.
Oh, well.
So technically March 30th will be the last day of the 30-day show for this round, right? I'm actually talking to I have something special around, like I have a friend of mine who does career business astrology for major corporations. Y'all didn't know this, but corporations bring in people like her to predict consumer insights for the next quarter or for the year. And I'm actually gonna have me and her are talking about doing a whole like session that's all about like predicting Q2. Like, what does that say from an astrology standpoint? We'll do some breath work. We'll do some I want to have like a tarot reader come do like a reading on the quarter. So we'll see. But we're planning it right now, and I want to do that for the last day of March. And so y'all keep it locked. Stay right here. Text me 202-918-4483. You can also go to my Instagram at Omi Bell, and there's like a link in my bio with a form where you can join up. You can join as well. But I'm gonna give her with Maria for my like landing page that she worked on for me. And we're gonna get that up and rolling so you can actually go and fill out all the information there. I'll share that with Cameron too, so we'll know who's coming from the show. But I just want to say thank y'all for rocking with us. Today was an amazing show. Also, I'm like, yo, my network is dope, yo. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for signing up for all these days and joining in and sharing all this insight with us. It's been amazing. All right, well, at the end of the show
The show go in.
there you go. All right, y'all have a good rest of your day.